Hey everybody, grace and peace. We are back. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, but there was actually a little mix-up. So we got a plot twist tonight. We're gonna do something a little bit different, but kind of the same. You'll see in a moment. Appreciate everybody who's jumped into the best live chat on the internet. I did not realize on yesterday, she who shall not be named, Candaspiracy, was saying that she'll see us on Wednesday. I guess I didn't pick up on that. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Anyway, she's not doing a show tonight. But that's okay, because I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about anyway. So this gives us a chance to clean the trap, so to speak, get some things cleared up and all that kind of good jazz. So thank you, first of all, to everybody who's jumped in to the best live chat on the internet. Who do we got up in this building? Already dropping those like numbers already up in here. We got a brand new member. Words mean things. Welcome to the family. Words mean things. I appreciate it. Yeah, words do have some meanings. I appreciate that for sure. I see lots of good people already jumping in. Hello there, Conservative Bug. Good to see you. I'm gonna take my hat off. All right. Shout out. Good to see you. I see you, Mr. B5 up in the house. What's going on with your futures here? All right. Juju B is up in here just like she keeps talking, won't shut up. We will keep talking until she finally shuts up. I love it. Absolutely, man. We can talk. Hey, we can just talk. We have freedom of speech. They talk about freedom of speech. We got freedom of speech. What's going on? Oh, thank you so much. Futures in the building. How are you, friend? Good to see you. Lots of good people in here. Thank you so much to the moderators already. I don't say thank you enough to you all. Thank you so much for stopping by on this evening. Lots of good family reunion going on. It's funny you all are talking about Megyn Kelly, because I want to talk about Megyn in a minute. What's going on? Tex Bully Mom in the building. Good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully the bullies are treating you nicely. I see D Dawn up in here. What's going on? The new plot is Candace isn't doing a show, so we're not going to do a watch party. That's the new plot twist tonight. All right, but I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And we won't be super long because I know, hey, what's going on? The real KC, 1987 in the building. Good to see you. Hey there, Loyal. Loyal Love in the house. How are you? Am I running out of content? I hope not. I got a lot of content to talk about. I hope I'm not running out of content. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Ben is up in here. Well, this one's going to be a little bit, let me see. I got two topics I want to talk about. And then, of course, we'll just kind of freestyle a little bit from there. I got the 7 o'clock book discussion. And then we're going to get ready for tomorrow's show. I'm sure it'll be shenanigans and hijinks tomorrow. But we will see. I think this one's going to be a good one. I think it'll be a good conversation. Let's say it like that. All right. What is going on? All right. Here we go. With no further ado, y'all know that your guy, I do like Shannon Sharpe. I do like Shannon Sharpe as a content creator. I've said this before. I think Shannon Sharpe is definitely a top tier content creator he has legs for longevity. Okay. In my opinion, he doesn't have to be the number one, whatever like that. He doesn't have to be, what's going on, Manny in the building? I see you there. He's not going to be, I think he has the potential of being a number one. However, I think Shannon Sharpe as a content creator and a business owner, he understands completely and totally what it takes to be an effective podcaster, interviewer, content creator. I take none of that from him. I've said before, I think Shannon Sharpe definitely he's carved out a nice little pocket. And I think he does a great job in that. However, with all that being said, he interviews some very interesting people. I don't know why, but Shannon Sharpe really likes interviewing Black comedians. And hey, nothing wrong with that. However, sometimes people come on Shannon Sharpe Club Shay Shay, just to vent and really drag somebody out there that maybe doesn't need to be drugged, or maybe people didn't realize you had a beef with her, or whatever like that. They just kind of come over there and just kind of use it as a moment of catharsis to just get stuff off their chest. That could be good, and it could be bad. But another topic that comes up quite a bit is being black. Now, I bring this up, and I say it like that because Shannon Sharpe is an accomplished athlete, interviewer, and a podcaster. He by no means falls into the rank of being oppressed, right? Even with his humble beginnings here in South Georgia. I mean, he has definitely risen in rank, even with those things working, what some people say working against him. Even with some of the problems that he's had even recently with some of his discipline problems. We won't talk about those. But Shannon Sharpe is not oppressed. Let's just tell the truth, okay? He's definitely arrived. He's accomplished. He's achieved quite a bit in his career. The fact that somebody can sue you for $50 million and you actually have it to give it to him, sir, you're not oppressed. Just give it up, turn it loose. And a lot of the time, the people that he talks to often are also very accomplished actors, athletes, entertainers. And tonight, we're going to watch this gentleman. I'm kind of taken aback by this one. His name is Roy Wood Jr., and he was on The Daily Show at one time on comedy, I think it was Comedy Central. I really don't know how to build this up for you all. I really don't know how to set this thing up. I was trying to figure out how to put this on the tee so you all can serve it up to you on the tee, but I really don't know how to do this. He goes in, Roy, let me just bring it in. Let's bring it in. Okay, so Roy Wood Jr. is sitting here having a conversation with Shannon Sharpe. Both of these men are accomplished in their own right. If they've accomplished everything that they wanted to accomplish, that is not the discussion or the argument. They've taken advantage, full advantage of the American dream. Let's just tell the truth, okay? They both have arrived. I don't even know how to tell you what he's about to say, what this man is about to say. I'm kind of hoping he's joking about this, but I'm not 100% certain that he is. And what is he talking about, Jason? Because you really are building this up, Jason. What is he talking about? Well, he's talking about slavery, and he's talking about having found the family of the people that may have actually owned his slave relatives. This story is crazy town. Let me just bring it in. I don't even know where to go with this. This is craziness. And this is what I'm talking about. When we make oppression such an elevated status in our lives, that this is where we come to where I got to be such a victim. Listen to what he says. Greenheart's in the chat.
Wow. I did Finding Your Roots, and they found the white family that purchased the first black wood of my bloodline off the slave ships in Charleston.
Yep. That's what we came off of.
If I wanted to today, I could find the white wood descendants in southern Georgia and pull up on a fucking house. One day I will.
Yeah.
They ain't got no money though. I Zillowed they crib. They broke. Like, yeah. That's the thing we'll talk about with slavery, man, is that there's a lot of white people fumbled. Like, yo.
They fumbled the bag.
Yeah, you had working for you, you still couldn't come up. How you broke and you had slaves?
Yeah, that was valuable. That was gold.
They fumbled, bro.
You are
Okay, I honestly couldn't even understand what I'm talking about. This man said, and he said it very confrontational. I really am praying in my heart of hearts that he's just being, just trying to be funny. And albeit though I don't think it's really funny, but why would you roll up on the ancestors of somebody that potentially may or may not? Because again, I don't trust these ancestor sites to be that on the nose. But why would you roll up on some white people that may or may not have been related to somebody who may or may not have owned your ancestors. How in the world do you do that? And I know I'm really praying that he was just joking. I really believe, I'm hoping against hope, he's just joking. But here's the thing that I think is just the irony of irony. Everybody keeps talking about how white people who, and again, they use white just general. So everybody who has less melanin than me falls in the category of white, right? That they are rich and they have privilege and they have status because, quote unquote, their ancestors owned slaves, which, by the way, we already know not everybody rich owned slaves. Owning a slave did not mean that you were rolling in the bucks. It didn't mean that at all by any means or measures. A lot of the time, these people was living hand to mouth just as much as anybody else was, but I digress. But the idea that because now in 2025, persons who maybe had ancestors that owned slaves, that they are more prosperous. When you're looking at these two black men on the set, joking about how the quote unquote white people that may have owned his family are broke now, and you yourself are prospering, doesn't that fly in the face of the entire slave master narrative? Doesn't that just right there flip it on his head? Because you all are prosperous and more prosperous than the people that may or may not have owned your family back in the day? Doesn't that just flip it on his head and really just dump a bucket of cold water on the entire discussion? Because, sir, you're doing better than the people that owned you. So what would be the purpose of rolling up on them? Maybe you need to owe them some money. What would you do that for? Like, I really do hope he's just joking. I pray in my heart of hearts that he's just joking. However, even to bring it up shows that, yeah, he was thinking about that thing. He was thinking about that thing, and maybe really is dead serious. I don't know. But why? You are prospering, and you can't say that it's because that you were oppressed, because you're doing better than the people that you found that may have owned your ancestors. They are not rich. You are rich. Sir, come on. You can't get, how do you square that peg and make that some kind of oppression narrative? How do you do that? I would love to hear it. Let me see how the rest of this goes. I listened to this segment. I didn't actually go further than this. I'm not certain if he's done, but let me just see.
Have you ever met Rock and Chappelle?
Yeah.
Okay, that was
Rock and I are cool. I'm cooler with Rock than Chappelle. I see.
Okay, that's the end of it. Praise God. I just saw that earlier today, and I said, man, look at how crazy we make victimhood and trying to make ourselves a victim when you are literally millionaires. We know Shannon Sharp is. I'm going to give Roy probably the same thing. Let's say this. He's probably got more money than me. Okay, I think that's fair to say. And that being the case, to say that you are oppressed, dude, is absolutely, unequivocally stir-fried, non-GMO, grass-fed, pure organic foolishness. It's just, there's no other way around it. And again, I do hope he was playing. I really hope and pray that man was playing. But man, why would you even want to why would that even be something you talk about? You have arrived. You've reached a status that most people of your skin color have not reached. Why would you even want to joke about that? Why would that even be a thing? Like, maybe make it a joke and say, I bet you the people that own my family are not as rich as I am. That could be a role, but why even joke about, I looked them up and I could roll up on their house? Like, what? What would you do? What would the conversation be? You roll up in a Maybach, talk about your family used to own my family, and they got a 1987 Ford F-150 on 3 wheels. Like, what would you be doing? This is crazy, nasty work, man. Shout out to oh my gosh, is that my guy? Shout out to A Righteous Perspective up in here. Thank you so much, sir, with the $5 super. He says it's crazy work. Why is this a concern for this man? He has to somehow or another. I hate to say it. It's almost like that there's a type of psychosis where people injure themselves. It's not cutting, but they really truly go even beyond that of like self-mutilation in order. It's like Munchausen disease where they want people to feel sorry for them. So they'll literally mutilate themselves in order to get sympathy. It's almost like a version of that, in my opinion. And I don't think it's called Munchausen, because I think Munchausen is like a parent to a child situation. But there is a disease where people will literally mutilate themselves in order to get sympathy. It's not body dysmorphia either. But look, if somebody, I'm sure somebody's gonna put it in the chat in a second. But it's almost like a spiritual version of that, where I got to feel like a victim so bad that I will tell a story and concoct a story, good or bad, real or false, in order to get some kind of sympathy points. Because the victim Olympics, man, the victim stock exchange is real. Shout out to Wise. Thank you. And another 5 here. He says ridiculous. I agree with you all the same, sir. Thank you so much, man, for the very kind supers. My brother. All right, what does the real KC say? Entitlement is how people roll on people like this. It's crazy work. Like, how do you even joke about this in real time? Like, again, he's a comedian. I really am hoping that it was a joke. But like, why would you even joke about that? That just seems weird to me. I just can't even see where I would be entertained. Now, there's a form of, Munchausen syndrome is the person inflicting willingness to get sympathy. By proxy is a child. Okay. But there is, and because I saw one of a guy who literally got his legs amputated because he wanted people to feel sorry for him. He got his good working legs removed from his body in order to get sympathy. And the whole nine. It's a crazy thing. He was a doctor. Hold on, he was a doctor, and he actually got caught up in insurance fraud because he lied in order to get that surgery. I really wish I was kidding you. Hold on. Found it. Oh, it's only 10 minutes long. How about, okay. This is okay. So that's body dysmorphia? I thought body dysmorphia was, I just don't like the way I look, but I don't do anything to me. Okay, let me bring this in because I found the video of the guy who did this, and it's crazy work. And I feel like this is exactly what we were looking at with Shannon Sharp, but it's on a mental level. This guy literally did it, to get sympathy points and such of that nature. Let me see. A girl made herself go blind? Yo, this is some extra stuff. I don't think Candace is doing a show today, as far as I know. So we had a little plot twist. I was not paying attention. Yesterday, she kept saying, I'll see you Wednesday. It didn't sink into the melon, and I didn't notice that she wasn't going to do a show today, as far as I know. Let me just double check. No, she's not doing a show today. So that being the case, I had already planned to do a show. So I said, let me clear out the traps and do some of the things that I want to get off the traps. So that's why we're not doing a Candace show today. But we'll be back tomorrow, though, with no further ado. Okay, let me bring this in. I just want y'all to check it out. This is another content creator. His name is Atozy, A to Z. And he was talking about this, and I said, this is the craziest story I've ever heard in my life. All right, green hearts in the chat when y'all can hear. Let's go.
This vascular surgeon was just thrown in jail for insurance fraud after it was revealed that his amputations were not due to the sepsis that he claimed, or actually self-inflicted and fueled by both an interest in amputations and greed. Sometimes I come across stories and I'm like, this can't be real. But unfortunately, it is. Because this man made himself a double amputee, lied about it, then made nearly £500,000 Great British pounds in fraudulent insurance claims after, because even though he told his provider that he had sepsis, it was later revealed that he had frozen his own legs with dry ice until they required amputation. What kind of sick freak do you have to be to do this? Okay, so him being a vascular surgeon means that he performed hundreds of amputations himself, and now some of his patients are seeking legal advice out of fear that their own surgeries might have not been needed. That is horrifying. That is one incredible can of worms they just opened by charging this guy, because I cannot even imagine being one of his patients. Losing your limb and then realizing, wait, this guy is just some sick freak who just really enjoys removing limbs. Oh boy, okay. So obviously, that's a valid fear, given who we're talking.
Okay, we got to take a breath, y'all. We got to take a deep breath. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's some crazy work right there. And that's what I'm saying. When somebody goes that far to, looking up quote unquote ancestors that owned his ancestors, the ancestors of the people that owned his ancestors, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you're going above and beyond the victim Olympics. You are going into the victim, I don't know, stratosphere. This is some crazy work for sure. I'm going to finish this up because I just found it fascinating. Let's go.
Talking about here today because the subject of today's video is Neil Hopper. He was found to have a, well, let's say fixation on DIY amputations. Again, how is this a real story? So who's Neil Hopper? Well, Neil Hopper is a 45-year-old vascular surgeon from Cornwall, England. And in 2019, he had both his legs amputated below the knee.
My name's Neil Hopper. I'm a vascular surgeon who works in Truro. I've just been discharged from hospital and I was admitted unwell with sepsis of unknown cause. So I'm now a bilateral below knee amputee, which is quite ironic given my job.
You see, the original story that Neil told was that after returning from his camping trip, he apparently fell sick. So he stayed home while his wife and children left to visit his parents. The next morning, his wife called him to check in, and Neil was so delirious and speaking in gibberish, so she quickly called a friend and had him taken to the hospital. Here he was told he had sepsis and that it would take a lot to save the damaged tissue. So Neil and his doctors agreed to amputate both of his feet. And when I say agreed, I mean Neil seemed to imply that he insisted on it. But Neil says he was back to work in 6 months and had also launched his social media, the Bionic Surgeon, on Instagram and YouTube, as well as a Bionic Surgeon website. Did this dude amputate himself to kickstart his social media career? Is this a new low? Hello? So apparently he used these socials to share his story on becoming a double amputee, continuing his career as a surgeon and how he was adjusting to life with prosthetics. Looking back now, some of the things he shared are pretty ironic.
I've even managed to sort through a pile of old documents, which is about 2 foot tall, and sorted out some insurance claims and personal independent payment claims, and I can afford to live without the payments. But then there's the other half of me going, it's there, I'm entitled to it, paid my taxes. So yeah, it's a little bit strange. Don't think I'm morally strong enough not to take the free stuff.
He appeared on the British daytime TV show
Crazy.
This Morning to discuss his story. And he even applied to become a para-astronaut. Yeah, the guy, I guess, decided if he was going to commit fraud, he might as well just try to go to space as well. Not that I blame the guy for trying to do that, but still, how is this man a real person? I mean, the dude was clearly loving the spotlight and the attention. Just listen to him list off all of his accomplishments for the year.
Ended up being invited to talk on Radio Cornwall. We sort of avalanched into a conversation with a TV producer, Gemma, awesome lady, and I ended up being followed around by some BBC cameras for a few days and made a brief documentary about my return to work and the problems I'd had and my concerns about amputee care, and then got invitation to speak to Daily Mail, turned them down, don't like their politics.
Yeah, so that's pretty much just like public speaking events and interviews. And remember, he also relearned how to walk, and he was in the process of potentially going to space. Wouldn't you want to include that as well? And I'm sure he was loving the insurance payouts as well, because he allegedly used them to buy a camper van, a hot tub, a wood burner, and to make home improvements. And Neil was just sharing all of his toys across social media pretty much shamelessly, and seemed to be genuinely happy and thriving on the outside.
I'm more active than I've almost ever been. I've been out on a trike a lot. I'll put some videos of that up at some point. I do a lot of walking. I can walked 4 miles across country paths on my legs without much difficulty at all.
On the inside, however, there was a dark secret that was about to come out. And this is where things go from crazy to batshit insane. Because in March of 2023, literally the same month that BBC published an article about his sepsis and life after losing his legs, he was arrested after being linked to the owner of, let's just call it an X-rated site. Oh boy. Now, I need to be very careful with how I word all of this if I don't want this video smited from the algorithm, but Neil was paying for videos from a website that specialized in removing men's parts.
In another disturbing charge, investigators found that between 2018 and 2020, Hopper bought 3 videos from a now defunct website called The Eunuch Maker, an extreme body modification website which showcased disturbing mutilation live stream.
Okay, yeah, what a fascinating use of free will. That is absolute. No, actually, what a fucked up use of free will. That is just awful. Yeah. Sometimes we just have those videos where we just kind of hit new lows. This is just But that's not all. He also even exchanged messages with the owner of the website where he revealed the truth about his own injuries. The damages that led to his double leg amputations that have been self-inflicted. Yeah, I guess he just left that part out when he was filing his insurance claims for £500,000. Yeah, I mean, you can't come back from messaging someone that it's going to be awesome when you become a double amputee and then it's been your dream for 20 years. I think that is the definition of you being quite messed up. And the investigation into the website had blown Neil's lies wide open, and he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of fraud by false representation and a charge of a grievous body harm. So yeah, you can definitely have a feel for his former patients, because finding out the guy who performed an amputation on you apparently has a, he's into that stuff, and he was paying for videos of it, that would be pretty horrifying. It's not completely clear why Neil wanted to remove his feet, but his defense claimed that Mr. Hopper had suffered body dysphoria since childhood, and his feet were an unwelcome extra, and apparently a persistent, never-ending discomfort to him, which is extremely rare, but not unheard of, because there was that story of the woman who blinded herself with drain cleaner because she claimed that she should have been born blind. Also, random interesting fact, but most people who struggle with wanting to remove a body part are middle-aged white men, and the most common thing they want to amputate is the left leg. You really learn something new every day. But I guess all this to say, it is possible to just not want a certain part of your body. But you obviously can't just like hack off a limb at random, and you definitely can't then just claim it as sepsis for £500,000. Because that's a serious payday. So obviously he did some financial trickery to be able to get that payday on top of getting what he also wanted. And it really does not help when the evidence comes out of you telling your friend that you're going to milk this insurance payout. So at this point, it looked like Neil had nowhere left to hide and didn't enter any plea deals in court.
According to the Times UK, Hopper didn't enter any pleas to the 3 charges lodged at him and reportedly shed a tear before being led to his cell by court officers.
And the court also heard that Hopper did not regret his operations, but bitterly regrets the dishonesty about their cause. And then I guess most recently, on August 28th, he was finally thrown in jail for close to 32 months for his crimes. The judge in this case also made a harm prevention order for 10 years and set a timetable to recover some of the funds he acquired fraudulently. The court also heard that Hopper would lose his home, so even if you hear 3 years is light, he will be dealing with the repercussions of this for the rest of his life. And then you can also factor in the part where he doesn't have legs anymore, so he'll also deal with that for the rest of his life on top of this. But apparently he wanted that, so
that's crazy.
Whatever floats your boat, man. Honestly, this is just fucking weird. This is definitely one of the more bizarre stories I've covered recently. I mean, at this point, I just hope all of his former patients get the peace of mind they deserve, even though that seems very difficult given how unsettling this guy ended up being. And while a spokesperson for the NHS put out a statement claiming that there's been no evidence to suggest that any risk to any of his patients, I'd still kind of be worried. It just wouldn't sit right. So personally, I don't know if that would make me feel that much better. Because I mean, if there's a dude who's like really taking pleasure in removing your leg and it's like the most traumatizing experience of your life, yeah, I really feel for them. But I mean, hey, at least he didn't slander a YouTuber for being a deadbeat father like this woman did for clout. I don't know why she did it, and she kept doubling down on it, but it's an insane story I'd recommend checking out here. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, drop a like on this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
All right, shout out to Atozy. That is just the craziest story. And I feel like that's what we're watching with people who are doing all of this lyrical gymnastics to be oppressed. They're doing the exact same thing this guy did, but he did it to his physical body, and these people are doing it in a spiritual sense or a metaphoric sense, if you will. You know, this body dysmorphia type of situation, which is crazy work. By the way, shout out to Avengers up in here. He says this: I see that America hadn't really reconciled or talked about the open wound of slave trade left in relation to the current racism in the country. I think we have. I disagree with that. But I mean, we could have a long, again, probably a 2-day discussion about it. I think that issue has been resolved, in my opinion, but we can continue. Thank you so much for the $5 super. MT comes up in here with the $10 super, says this: just watch the video, Megan Kelly. saying Ben is lying about Candace accusing Erica and that Candace would never accuse Erica and she has been defending her. I'm done with conservatives. We're going to actually watch that. So shout out to that. Thank you so very much, MT. I actually have it queued up, ready to go. But I do want to clean the palette because that video right there was pretty terrible. That was pretty terrible, man, to say the very least. And I think the only thing that would, work out well for us is if we clean the palette. So with no further ado, actually, I know I told you all earlier that Candace wasn't going to be doing a show. Well, I might not have been true. Here we go. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
All right, you guys, more on today's story. We have more receipts. We have more evidence, more shocking evidence, actually. More screenshots, more conversations that just don't feel right. Just don't feel right. They're giving me feelings. They're giving me very interesting feelings. And we are going to explore that. Even though the Zionists and the people who work for Israel, they don't want you to know what I'm about to show you, but I'm going to show you because I believe in the truth. And so we're going to take a look at things that will raise some questions about that narrative we are being sold, that is being pushed down our throat by Turning Point, by people involved, but we're going to find out the truth. Charlie was turning. Everyone's freaking out that Tucker Carlson had on Nick Fuentes, okay? What people don't know is that even Charlie had feelings about Nick Fuentes that you might not realize. I remember years ago, Charlie and I went to the zoo. We went to a zoo, and they had animals there. I'm not sure why the animals were there. I'm not sure why they were being kept from us. That's an interesting question. I just find that interesting that they're behind cages and they're being controlled, but that's for another time. But while we were there, Charlie, he found a frog. It could have been a toad. He found a frog and he picked it up. And we have a picture of that I'm going to show you now. Here's the picture. It's interesting. I just find it interesting. Charlie was holding a frog. Clearly, he was embracing the groypers. That he's holding this frog, and he was smiling, and he was laughing. And I remember that was clearly a sign to me that Charlie was at least sympathetic to the groyper movement. Okay? Fast forward, later that day, Charlie and I had a conversation, which I'll show you right now. Hey, great time today. I'm sorry we didn't get to see the lions. Clearly, he was still a Zionist at that point, wanting to see the lions. That wasn't a coincidence to me, but I just knew something was happening. I loved holding that frog. Had a frustrating conversation with some folks at the Daily Wire. But anyway, I'll tell you more about that later. Obviously, this stays between us. Please don't share with anyone. Something was going on. I don't know, no, but I know, no. You know, we say no, 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 no. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, 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 no. Yeah, 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 yeah. Destiny's Child. They were trying to tell us something. Beyonce. There's something going on. Something doesn't feel right to me. And we are going to get to the truth. Later that week, I had another discussion. This part is so crazy, you guys. This is just wild to me. It's just wild to me. I had a discussion with my doctor, and I will show that screenshot to you now. It says, Candace, it might be herpes. You should come in now and get it checked out so we can properly diagnose and prescribe the proper treatment. You guys, trust the science. Now, I admit I was naive. I was gullible. Guess what, doctor? No. Darling. Shh. Anyway, it just felt like really weird that he would text me that, and it was just no reason at all. He probably wanted to prescribe me a drug developed in Israel, and I wasn't going to let Zionists make my medical decisions. Certainly would never do that. Why would I do that? Anyway, you guys, make sure you pre-order. Make him a sandwich.
No thanks.
What?
I don't want that. We should get you checked out.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so I had to clean the palate, y'all. We had to get... We cannot be too serious here on this podcast. Now, there are podcasts where they're very serious and they take themselves extremely serious. This is not said podcast. I don't take any of this serious. I'll just be honest with you. All right. So the question was, there were a lot was asked, are we going to talk about this Megyn Kelly defending Candace Owens, saying that Ben Shapiro was not being honest and blah, 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 blah. All right. So let's talk about it. Okay. So over here on the Twitter, on the X, Candace retweets this. She says as follows. Thank you, Megyn, for clarifying that Ben Shapiro quite literally lied to your face and your audience about my words. Rarely in politics do you see someone lie so brazenly in an effort to morally blackmail. I'm sorry, somebody texted me. I'm sorry, blackmail someone into their position. Trying to equate questioning Turning Point USA employees about their verifiable lies to accusing Erica Kurt of murdering her own husband is a vile and obvious attempt to shut down further investigation, and it will not work. All right, let's hear what Megyn had to say. I have not heard this yet, so let's hear what Megyn had to say. Take it away, Meg.
He said that Candace has been claiming Erica Kirk was behind the murder of Charlie, which I had not heard, and I was taken aback because that seems like something I would have heard. It's so crazy. And I have since learned it is not true. Candace has not made that claim. And in fact, I've now seen several clips of Candace specifically defending Erica Kirk and saying she would never make a claim like that about Erica, and that she is open-minded to other people at Turning Point. That's obvious. She's been making that point. I had heard that point, but she's specifically been defending Erica Kirk, and she's been saying she does not think that of Erica. And in fact, if you read her comments, she's under pressure to make comments about Erica. And so far, what I've seen, she hasn't. So thank you for that question.
Okay.
He said that Candace has been claiming.
All right. So what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think? Now we over here, we've seen more Candace content than Megyn Kelly has. We've seen way more content than Megyn Kelly has. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something we don't usually do. We're going to jump down to the comments. Melissa Doherty, I'm telling you right now, Candace has picked up some pretty serious ops. These are some very smart women that are coming after Candace and her foolishness. We're not just calling out, this is not just some Yahoo over at the 7-Eleven. These are some very astute women. Candace does not want to get into this with them. I'm just going to be honest with you. Melissa Doherty, this is so manipulative. You obviously did strongly imply that, and she's referring directly to Candace. So there's no joke about this. Imply this very thing. But you remain so vague about it that if you were right, you could take credit. But if you were wrong, then you could call the person accusing you of it a liar. Shout out to Melissa Doherty. And might I add, instead of pointing out what she obviously was implying, I suggest taking a different approach. Where she's been conveniently vague and ambiguous in the past, here we see a clear and firm claim. According to Candy O, Erica Kurt was not involved in it. Good. Now hold her to that. Ask more questions. Since you have all of these insiders, when you claim that claimed at everyone in TPUSA betrayed Charlie, then who was involved? How? When did this start? And why would they go to you and not to more credible sources like Megyn Kelly or even Brett Cooper? Why are you the special person with all the inside info that literally nobody else knows or can verify? And I wouldn't want squishy open for interpretation responses. I want you to see objective, cold, hard evidence for these claims. My goodness, and more, I'm telling you, she does not want this smoke with Melissa Doherty, but she gonna get it. Don't give this footsie cake, unclear evidence where you beta people to fact check you, and because you've been unclear, you capitalize on their outrage. You move the goalposts and give the illusion of being right. You won't allow anyone to question you. You're emotionally breadcrumbing people. Wow. Emotionally breadcrumbing. What is emotionally breadcrumbing? And why is that amazing? You cite vague sources, allude to confidential intel, or reference behind the scenes knowledge. You're creating the image of credibility without ever having to prove it. This is a control of information, messing with people's perception of reality. This then emotionally manipulates people into defending you, the sacred cow, the holder of the special knowledge. Their behavior and thoughts are manipulated through this emotional manipulation. At least you were forced to pin down two things. Did Erica Kurt? But Erica Kurt is innocent and you weren't talking about the Jews. Check. Shout out to Natalie Denise. She's been on the show before. She played Jeopardy with us a couple of weeks ago. When Jewish people come to faith in Jesus, they don't stop being Jewish. They are recognizing their own Messiah, the one foretold by the prophets and promised throughout the covenant. Following Jesus doesn't erase Jewish identity, it completes it. It is the fulfillment of the very faith that gave birth to the Messiah himself. The early disciples were Jewish. The apostles prayed in the temple, kept the feasts, and preached the gospel first to their own people. They didn't see belief in Jesus as a rejection of Judaism, but as a divine fulfillment. To follow the Messiah of Israel is not to abandon Jewishness. It is to embrace the fullness of what God began in Abraham, confirmed through Moses, and completed in Christ. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Jamie Mitchell. May this kind of friend never find me. And I saw this before where Candace is talking about she's such a great friend. All right. What do y'all think about the Megyn Kelly debacle here? What do you think about this? You think Megyn Kelly is right? There we go. I'm sorry about that. You think Megyn Kelly is right? You think she's off base? What do we got here? What do we got? Melissa Dore does really great apologetics work, great videos, and she just published a book about New Thought ideology and how it infiltrated all of our lives, even in the church. Thank you so much. Great shout out to her for sure. Megyn is beholden to Candace. Yeah, I'm not really surprised. I'll be honest with you. I'm not surprised by her take at all. You think she's off base. She's a coward. No, she's wrong. Off base. Lots of good commentary back in here. Let's see what I missed up here at the top. Megyn Kelly is no good. Candace literally said, everyone at TPUSA is questionable and recently stated, now Erica has been taken over and grieving widow cannot be separated from the new role. There you go, Kimberly K. Excellent point. Excellent point. Candace is the Abigail of Arthur Miller's play, and Megyn was one of those that was dancing at the Mad Witches dance with her. Okay, who's Abigail of Arthur Miller's play? Who's that? You got to break that down to me. That's a little bit too deep for your boy. Megyn wants to play in both ways and claim plausible deniability, not unlike Candace. Shout out. I think Megyn Kelly kind of disavowed Candace with these statements. Really? She literally just said that was in air and that Candace didn't attack Erica at all. I don't know how she disavowed her. All right, lots of good conversation going on here. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. They act like they're afraid of Candace. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, they definitely give like fear. This is a great point. When Candace Owens says she's the only one that's got Charlie's back, maybe we should push back on her affection toward Charlie Kirk. Maybe Megyn can say, hey, you do have a whole husband. Why are you going so hard about somebody that's not your husband? I understand your relationship, but you do also have a whole husband. Like you are married and you have 4 kids. Why? And Charlie Kirk had a wife. Why are you not allowing his wife to be equally involved in it and let her tend to it and you tend to yourself? To me, that would be a great question. All right, I'm going to lots of good conversation. Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, I do have this last what I wanted to bring in, and we've talked about this young man before. His name is Marty Trolls, and he's an excellent content creator. He's been giving Candace fits. Matter of fact, I personally think he was the reason why Candace showed her phone yesterday on the live stream, is because he has been saying that she needs to show her phone and needs to show that she can scroll on it and so on and so forth. I think he was one of those ones that was really digging into the text messages and whether or not they were real and whether or not they had the right format and so on and so forth. But he did today say, hey, you know what? If Candace is right, she's right. And he gave her flowers for saying, hey, you can scroll on these, so they're probably more right than false, so on and so forth. But he does have another video real quick. We're going to check this out and then we'll get out of here. So let's see what Marty is talking about.
Hey,
Artie
everybody,
Trolls.
how's it going? So we're
Green
going to
hearts in the
debunk a
chat.
little bit more from Candace Owens because, well, she just says stuff without really ever looking into it. Like the first part of this video, she talks about how the FBI confiscated footage, first and foremost, from the hospital that Charlie Kirk was had went to. And I'm here to tell you that that's pretty normal procedure from the FBI to do. But before we get into all of this, as well, as she also says she never, ever implicated that TPUSA was behind any of this. Yeah, it's crazy, right? But before we go in there, guys, please like, subscribe, and share, especially the liking and subscribing part. It is amazing that you guys are doing that. I genuinely appreciate y'all. Even Candace Owens haters, even haters of mine that come from Candace Owens. Thank you all for clicking the video at least. I just ask you all to actually watch this video. My videos aren't very long. At least listen to my argument and the stuff that I present to you guys before you comment. Please. Y'all come here and y'all say silly stuff like, oh, I'm a liar, and then you can't proceed to tell me a single lie I told. And that's really silly. You guys are just coming here to bombard and hate on me without even listening to my argument. That sounds a lot like the left. Whenever I go to somebody's video, I at least let them make the argument first, and then I refute their points. That's what normal MAGA people do. But Candace isn't normal MAGA, is she? No, she was a leftist from the beginning. And then she created her company, Degree 180, and had social autopsy where she doxed children for saying the N-word. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. And then months later, she becomes Red Pill Black. 2017. It's crazy, right? Then all of a sudden, she's supporting Trump, you know? She was bragging about voting for Hillary Clinton just a few months before that. But now, you know, she's voting Trump. And then, on top of that, yes, she gets, you know, further into the lies. She debates Blair White on Dave Rubin, and also on Dave Rubin, she gets introduced to Kanye West, September 18, 2017, and then pretends that her and Charlie Kirk manifested. Kanye West tweeting at her in April of 2018. Yeah, it's just the lies keep coming, and they come, and they keep coming, and I say it in every single video. So, if you guys want to know more about Candace Owens' past, let me know, and I may do an entire video just specifically over her past. Let's talk about this, though. It's crazy, right? So, do police and FBI take hospital footage when someone is ended? Yes, in these investigations, police and FBI, if involved, routinely request and obtain hospital security footage as part of the gathering evidence. Here's why they do it and how it typically works. So, crime scene extension is what they call it. If the victim was brought to the hospital after the attack, or, you know, they were injured anywhere else other than the hospital becomes a secondary scene. Footage could show the victim's arrival condition, who brought them in, any suspects nearby. Suspect behavior. If someone following the ambulance, fleeing the ER, or tampering with evidence, they look for, you know, patterns. They look for people that followed behind the ambulance. They verify who that was. Interactions in waiting areas, hallways, or parking lots. Timeline reconstruction. Camera captures exact times, helping match alibis or witness statements. They use all of this stuff to create an exact time frame. It's very common, Candace. So when you say, oh, how would this help with their investigation? Well, just because you don't know doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's weird. See, I decided to go ahead and be like, okay, when have they ever done this? It's pretty simple. The murder case of Kirsten Kiki Barraza. I know that sounds like a woman, guys, but it's a guy. He was a part of a cartel whole thing that the police actually ended up kidnapping this guy and using him against the cartels. But whenever he was murdered by them, They requested the footage from the hospital as well. And there's hundreds of thousands of cases where they do this because they need the entire time frame of the day. They start with the hospital where they know their guy is at. Where they're like, okay, we can determine this. It's on video record that he was here at this exact time. Therefore, everything involving this case took place before the minute the ambulance arrived. Then they can also use it to verify everybody that was there at the hospital. And if there's a shady person who came in right after, and they're like, hey, this person came into the hospital. Hey, this person's actually connected to this guy. Let's start with them. It really can help change an entire investigation. We don't know that there may not have been some people from the group Tyler Robinson was part of that went to that hospital to either make sure that things were taken care of or to verify where he was at what time, where his security detail was like, and all that stuff. It happens. Now, is it likely for this case? Probably not, because he had insane amounts of security, and they would have locked that hospital down. But at the end of the day, it's still routine. So Candace passing that information off like it's weird without doing any research is exactly what I would expect from her. Okay? It took a simple Grok search, and it makes sense. But it's not just that. I've actually covered cases on my true crime channel in the past for A Dark Path where this exact situation has happened. So she's just completely blowing smoke. Okay? So I'm going to ignore that. I'm not even going to play that part because it's just dumb. It's dumb. That was the whole first part of Fed sees hospital footage right here. If you guys want to watch it, it is about 2.5 minutes long.
Real quick, if you're just jumping in, we're watching Artie Trolls, excellent content creator. He's been giving Candace Owens fits. I just dropped the link to this video in the chat right here. If you could, if you don't mind, real quick, click on the link, jump over to this video, and drop him a green heart and tell him I sent you. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to his channel. He does some great work. And I think it would be encouraging to him as a content creator, if you're not already subscribed, that to see a good number of people jump over there and subscribe to his channel. So I'm going to drop it in there for you, give you a few minutes to do that, and then get back over here, and then we'll keep it going. So thank y'all so much. In the meantime, thank you very much to MT with the $2 super says it's 2 months of implication. One tepid walk back is wild. I agree 100%. And Kiwi seeking the truth with the $20 New Zealand with a very kind super sticker. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. Shout out to the land down under. Is that right? New Zealand? Y'all the land down under. Well, shout out to the Kiwis. There we go. I think y'all are Kiwis for sure. Thank you so much. All right, let's get back to this. Let me see. Artie Troll is good. Playing on binging. Yeah, he has some great content. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and bring him. Let's keep him going. Shout out to Artie Trolls.
Of her questioning, normal procedure. Now, what I do want to get to is this right here.
Keep up with the lies that are being spread about me. So he had some sort of a software crash out. This was him being like, I'm tired, and
Grok.
sitting in his car. I'm just going to show you what Grok said at the top here.
Or it could have just been a bug. Could have just been a bug in Grok. I don't know. I'm sure Grok was just exhausted, though. His poor little circuits needed a break.
No, I want the Grok headline. Candace Owens accuses Turning Point USA of Charlie Kirk assassination role.
Do you see the word role? Do you know what role means? Whenever you sit there and say TPUSA betrayed Charlie Kirk, you're implying that there was a role. Whenever you say that the succession and all that stuff was false, that's their role in it. You're giving them motivation to end Charlie Kirk to take over the company. And now you're trying to backpedal, Candace. Unacceptable. Completely unacceptable.
And then it says Candace Owens alleged Turning Point USA orchestrated the October 15th, 2025 assassination of its founder, Charlie Kirk in Phoenix, Arizona by former volunteer Marcus Hale. who police say acted alone with no evidence. Ben Shapiro
I was
publicly
muted.
condemned
Did
Owens'
anybody
claims
notice?
as evil.
Sorry about that. Did anybody notice that Candace Owens did not say conservative commentator right here? It says conservative commentator right there, but she doesn't say it. She just starts out with Candace Owens alleges. That's just interesting. Instead of pointing that out, she just kind of skipped over it. I'm sure there's a reason why. Wait. Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason why, but I can't think of why it would be. You know what I mean? All right, let's keep this going. I'm sorry, but I was muted myself. All right, let's go.
And then, yeah, it's just none of this is real. Like, you guys are exhausting not just Ali Stuckey, you're exhausting Grok.
None of it's real. You've never once implicated TPUSA whatsoever of having a role in Charlie's end. Are you kidding? Just like you never implicated Erica Kirk, because why would you ever do that? You didn't have to. The moment you said that the diaries weren't real, Charlie was smart enough. He should have done this through a lawyer, and all of his loved ones would have known. He would have done the succession through them, and then it's like, oh yeah, but Erica Kirk ended up succeeding and becoming the CEO of TPUSA, and she has legitimized every single position in TPUSA from her perspective, and you're saying, no, that can't happen. Therefore, Erica Kirk has to be involved somehow. If that can't happen, and the CEO is not capable of following through with his succession, I don't know, being his freaking wife, that probably knows a hell of a lot more about the succession than you do, you're sitting there and telling us that she is behind a lot of this stuff with TPUSA. There's no other way around it. Whether she's unwillingly just dumb and following them, so therefore she's part of it anyway, unwillingly, which I don't believe for a second. I don't think she's dumb. Or she's being held hostage against her will. I guess that's a possibility, right? But that would be even more likely than what you're suggesting, that Erica's just dumb. Or she's actually in on it fully. Which one is it, Candace? It has to be one of those three, because she can't just be, like, innocent in this, and then at the same time be the CEO of TPUSA when you're sitting there saying TPUSA betrayed him. Why are you saying... So are you telling me the context of him being betrayed is that they're just taking TPUSA into a different direction? And that it's not related to the end of Charlie Kirk, even though you constantly going, I'm just asking questions. I'm just trying to find out who actually did it. Well, then, if you're trying to figure out who actually did it, maybe you should separate it from TPUSA completely and say, hey, they have had nothing to do with it. I don't see any reason why they would have had anything to do with it. But instead, you're like, well, TPUSA's covering this up. This is a cover-up. What do you think a cover-up means? If they are covering it up, Candace, they are guilty of murder. They can't cover this up and not be guilty of that, Candace. You are trying so hard to walk this back. And it's not going well for you. It's absolutely not going well for you at all. So anyway, she's talking about stuff like this too.
Point. It's really interesting to consider that. Turning Point suddenly got super de-duper faithful.
Really? So they did it. Not Charlie? Weird. Because guess who else was getting super de-duper faithful, Candace? Charlie as well. So you're also calling Charlie Kirk a moron.
With what I would say is an interesting cast of characters. The wrong characters. Okay,
oh, really?
Rob McCoy leading that
I love how it's the wrong characters because Charlie's not smart enough to be able to pick them for himself.
frontier, as we know. What people don't know publicly is that Lance Wallnau was working with him. Okay, he was intimately involved, and more importantly, he was financially involved. Sources within Turning Point's faith department tell me that Lance was running the show behind the scenes through funding.
This is another thing, and I'm just going to jump in real quick. I know Artie Trolls is probably going to say it as well. Why does nobody hold Candace's feet to the fire and say, show us your evidence before we believe what you're saying? Like, why did she just said sources within TP Faith told her? Who are these sources? When did they start? When did they leave? Are they still there? How do they know? Like, where's the evidence to this? Why are we getting all of this information from Candace and literally Candace only? Now, she showed us all the stuff that Lance Wallnau, and I agree, Lance Wallnau is a wackadoodle, but you haven't shown me anything that he's related to this at all. Not a bit. No org chart. No, I looked on TP Faith's page. I don't see his face on there. So how do you know these things? How do you know these things? You got to show us some evidence.
He put a ton of money into Turning Point USA faith operations. Now, I guess a better way for me to state this, because I want to be super clear here, is that Lance Wallnow, who is from a military family,
military people,
who is saying that he believes in infiltration.
Just all military families now.
Everybody
Nobody can have a
catches
military
strays.
family without being weird anymore, including
As a
Mr.
means
Beast.
to climb
She calls him
mountains and
out.
overtake society.
wild, right?
However, he just described that.
Okay, anyway, so all that garbage claim, that literally, I mean, she is quite literally trying to destroy Charlie's life work. This is where he wanted it to go. And he was very vocal about it. He was very, very vocal that his faith came first, Candace. So don't you think it would be the same way with his business? This is getting completely and totally ridiculous. Now, Megyn Kelly is refuting Ben Shapiro's claim on Candace Owens' Charlie Kirk accusations. So let's listen to this, because now Candace is praising this as well.
He said that Candace has been claiming Erica Kirk was behind the murder of Charlie, which I had not heard. And I was taken aback because that seems like something I would have heard. It's so crazy. And I have...
Well, have you heard her literally pointing the finger at TPUSA? And did you know that his wife is the CEO of TPUSA? I mean, it's crazy to sit there and think that somehow TPUSA can do all this stuff, but somehow the CEO just isn't a part of it. That's a little far-fetched to me, Megyn.
Since learned it is not true. Candace has not made that claim. And
Really?
in fact, I've now seen several clips of Candace specifically defending Erica.
So if I blame Starbucks for being absolutely garbage and, having all their insane left-wing ideologies that they do and, doing all the crazy crap they do, right? We all know what Starbucks does, okay? With their baristas and whatnot. Are we saying that the CEO is not responsible for that then? That it's not the CEO's fault whatsoever? That the CEO has absolutely nothing to do with how crappily left-wing Starbucks is? That's interesting.
Kirk, and saying she would never make a claim like that about Erica, and that she is open-minded to other people at Turning Point. That's obvious. She's been making that point. I had heard.
So only the lower level people in TPUSA. It can't be, once it gets up to a certain level of TPUSA, they're fine?
Right.
Do we only draw the line at CEO? I'm really genuinely curious.
At that point. But she's specifically been defending Erica Kirk. And she's been saying she does not think that of Erica. And in fact, if you read her comments, she's under pressure to make comments about Erica. And so far, what I've seen, she hasn't. So thank you.
It's just a...
Okay, I'm going to stop Artie for a second, too. I would love to ask Megyn. Megyn, why do you think people are attacking Erica? Where do you... And I know you say you don't watch the content, but why do you think people with working cerebral cortexes are attacking Erica Kirk? What do you think brought that about? Do you think it just happened just by happenstance? Do you think a weird comet went by the sun? Like, why do you think that is? And where did they get that from? That's what I would ask. And she's going to probably try to deflect, but I think we could all see and get her to the brass tacks of they're taking what Candace has said, or maybe even read to Megyn some statements that Candace has said. For example, everything in Charlie's life was fake. Everybody at TPUSA betrayed him. I'm the only friend that Charlie has. If somebody said that, do you think that would include his wife? Okay, so now let me ask you the next question. Where do you think they got it from? I think that question should be asked. And I'm sorry, Megyn Kelly is just wrong. She's wrong as two left shoes here. She should have stepped out of it. She should have left it alone. If she was going to, be this milquetoast mamsy pamsy, she should have said, I don't know. I don't have a comment on it, but I do believe she knows. I do believe she knows where it comes from. Sorry, I do believe she knows again. But this answer that she's giving is only providing duck and cover for Candace. It doesn't help Megyn at all. Matter of fact, I think it ruins Megyn's credibility, in my opinion.
A little weird. She knows she can't make comments about Erica, not because she doesn't believe Erica did it. Because in order for you to believe TPUSA was behind this, and in order for you to believe that the succession of people in TPUSA is incorrect, how in the world would Erica end up in the highest possible position? That's the problem. And why wouldn't Erica come out and say, hey, the diaries don't exist? It's interesting. She's made those claims, but Erica would absolutely know for a fact that the succession is wrong. Because guess who would have been part of it? Guess who would have discussed it with Erica? It would have been Charlie himself. Here's Candace interjecting herself into another marriage. She's done this multiple times. She did it with Steven Crowder. So that's insane. Here she is injecting herself into another marriage that she has no business being part of and saying, oh, well, Erica's innocent, but the rest of TPUSA is guilty. However, Erica is literally following the exact succession that Charlie Kirk has apparently laid out, while saying that Charlie Kirk never laid that out. But here's Erica's wife actually literally contradicting that. How is that possible, Megan? It cannot possibly make sense.
Thank you for that question.
It cannot possibly make sense. It is quite literally impossible. But what do you guys think? Thank you all so much for making it to the end of this video. I genuinely appreciate every single one of you, even if you don't like me. Seriously, thank you. Thank you very much. Please subscribe and like and share, and I will see you guys here in the next one. Later.
Shout out to Marty Trolls. Great content creator. I'm going to leave his link down in the chat. I know the mods have dropped it. I'm sorry. To that video. Mods, thank you so much for that. And yeah, I just think that's a wild story. But I do appreciate y'all. I want to say thank you all for tapping in. I know we usually have some Candaspiracy shenanigans to talk about, and I let you down because there wasn't any Candace today. we probably need to clean the palette one more time before we leave. So I'm going to get that queued up as I'm talking. But I just want to say thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for rocking with us and hanging out. We have a good time doing this, and I'm glad that you all find value in building a community. Lots of the comments about the community mean a lot, so I'm glad that you all enjoy that. I am going to, I got one quick palette cleanse, if you will. If you're not familiar with that, what I like to do is we got to have something fun. So I got a quick palette cleanse for you all, and then we're going to get ready to get out of here. I have at 7 o'clock, we're doing our Pilgrim's Progress book study over on the webinar. So we'll be doing that, and hopefully you'll have a good time there. Let's bring this in. Bang. All right. Here we go. This was a quick, fun palette cleanse, but I think you'll enjoy it. Let's go.
Be on the next lap. What is a Krispy Kreme donut banana put? Somebody. What? Oh, heavenly sweet tooth father. Just good gracious alive. I'ma be rocking over that bass trap. I'ma be chilling with my mother crew. Whew, look at the scoop. Oh my Lord. I for sure thought we had done seen it all when we seen them Krispy Kreme peach cobbler. But now this. I'ma be making all them does you wanna do. I'ma be up in that Mayless flicks doing one-handed flips. Ooh, I'm about to bite these blinds. My Lord, just look at it. I mean, it just looks so sexy, if you will. I'm trying to hold it, but I can't help it. Banana pudding, this one's for you, my number one. Yeah. I got to join in with you. Banana pudding and Krispy Kreme. This is the way I saw you in my dreams. Hey, I knew you'd join the party sooner or later. Wait, I thought you was watching what you eat. Yeah, you're right. It's a quarter till summertime. But you know what? Summertime gonna get whatever body I got. Ma'am, give me the rest of that pan. Lord have mercy.
Shout out to Christian Johnson. I enjoy him, man. Lots of fun. Y'all go over there and tell Christian Johnson he needs to do a show here in Atlanta. He did that show and he did all those locations and did not come to Atlanta. I was ready. Lord have mercy. I had my plate and everything. I was ready to go. He didn't even do a show. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for rocking with me. I do want to say thank you to the very kind super chats. What did MT say with the $2? Says this: Megan should accuse Crowder of lying too. Very good point. Very good point. Shout out. Thank you so much for that. And we're going to round these bases with JD Weatherfly with the $10 super. Someone said that it's like they're all afraid of Candace. Look into George Farmer's work portfolio. He was CEO of the biggest Republican alt social media platform about 2019. You know, that is true. That's true. There's some truth to that. I think personally, and we might do it tomorrow, is look at the Candace's background in social media and her business, social autopsy, social media 180. We need to look into that. I think we might need to look into that. So that might be something we look at tomorrow, or maybe we'll come back again tonight and do it. I don't know. But I think there's something there. And when you see how Candace treated another person who was begging her not to dox her and begging her not to put all her information out there, it's very interesting. So, hey, there might be some smoke there. So I want to say thank you. Degree 180, was that what it was called? Degree 180? Okay. So, you know what? If possible, I might come back tonight and look at it, because it's a really interesting discussion. Lots of people want to talk about the background of Candace. And I think there's something there. It's not just like you just turned and went in another direction and wave goodbye to your past. Like, no, I think her past is tied to her pretty good. So don't be surprised if you see your boy back over here tonight. But I want to say thank y'all to everybody. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you to the very kind and gracious super chats and cash apps. Thank y'all so much for rocking with us. It's been fun. So let's do this again real soon. If you don't mind, if I earned it, go ahead, and if you could, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you tip your waiters on the way out the door. Hit the green hearts on the way out. And everybody, thank you so much. I'll see you real soon. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Whip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.